Very warm welcome to this special podcast series called Digital Mandate, presented by B2B, the Founder Media Group, which is a publisher of The Banker, The Educator, and The Founder magazines, and also run a tech community platform called Tech Disruptor Media. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Ravi Mathur, who is the co-founder and CTO of Insurance Samadhan. And in this particular podcast, we host senior industry leader to understand as to what they are doing and how technology is actually helping them. So, Mr. Mathur, thank you so much for taking our time for this special podcast.
Thanks for having me, Mohammed.
So let me begin by asking you, you are somebody who joined Insurance Samadhan as a CTO, as a tech person, and then became the co-founder. So how did your prior experience, especially with the startups like us, 24 and Jobs, shape your approach to addressing some of the major challenges that we see in the insurance space with relation to the customer grievances management?
So when I joined Insurance Samadhan, this space was very new, and we were a category creator. Right now, we are in category leader, but at that point of time, there was no reference point, and we were doing this as somebody who was taking a stab at a very big problem that was plaguing India. There was no reference point, and we started building small stuff, going back to the customer, getting his feedback, then getting back to building, doing these iterations over and over again. So what helped me from my prior experiences was, when I was building this tech stack, I was very clear about what tech stack I have to build on, how robust the architecture should be, and how actually I can avoid this tech debt tomorrow if this platform is going to scale. I'm going to build it from day one, keeping the nuances and the experience that I had with the platform, which uh, working with them, I had already seen scale. So I was very clear about how this is going to pan out. And today also, we are working with some of the biggest insurance repository in the country. We have actually solved around 17,000 cases, close to 17,000 cases. We have our partner network, which has around more than 11,000 members. All of this has been done with a very lean tech team, and that has been possible because the foundation was very solid from day one, and all those past experiences were actually uh, very important in building those foundations. So that is like, if you have worked with in the past, you have worked with scale, you have worked with technologies, you have worked with bigger teams, you understand how it is going to pan out in the future, and you are ready from day one.
Absolutely, I completely understand with you. But if you look at the insurance sector per se, I mean, this is one of the sector where the dispute are a bit higher. Many a times your insurance gets rejected, and you being a customer are not really very happy. And most of the also the customer touch points is very limited, either at the time of onboarding the customer or maybe at the time of settling a particular insurance claim somebody has made. So these days, what we are actually observing, there are a lot of utilization of AI and machine learning. So in your view, how can AI and automation can enhance the efficiency and accuracy of insurance grievances redressal mechanism for most of the companies?
So what happens, Mohammed, is like, I'll give you a practical scenario. So for example, if you're selling insurance, or like somebody is an insurance policy holder, what happens is like, the amount of information that he needs to have for
Mhm.
making a right decision, most of the people do not have in our country. So we are actually insurance illiterate country right now, and that is what shows in our penetration. And the government is doing some pretty good stuff with the Ayushman Bharat scheme and other ventures that they have been launching. So it is doing some good work, but still there is a lot that needs to be done. Now with technologies, new technologies like AI and all the stuff that is being thrown in insurance sector, what is being done is like, all these data points and information that is critical to making that purchase are being taken care of.
Mhm.
Now what can happen is like, for example, most of the insurance in the country is sold by agents, which is face to face, and like, you are dependent on what the insurance agent is telling to you. Most of the time what happens is like, there is a communication gap between the seller and the buyer. So like, some of the information that gets like deleted in the communication channel, or like you miss in the communication channel, sometimes it is intentional, sometimes it is not intentional. But what has to be understood is that the insurance industry, the main problem is the gap of the communication between the customer and the buyer. Now with
Right.
technologies like this, we have a product called as KYP, Know Your Policy. What we have done is, like, for example, if you have bought an insurance policy from anywhere, what we
Mm,
do is, like, you download our app, you upload your insurance policy, and what we will do is, like in few seconds, all the information from your insurance policy would be fetched in a manner that even a layman would understand. For example, what is your room rent capping? What are the diseases that are covered? What is the information that has been filled?
mhm,
Once you have access to all that information, it becomes very difficult for you to to get into a situation whereby your claim would be rejected. So what we are doing is, like, our all experience of these past 6 years, whereby we have solved all of these claims being rejected, what we
right.
understood was the main point was the information gap that was there. Now
Mhm,
where does that information gap come from? Information gap comes when there is a selling which is happening. The customer might have missed some information. The insurance company makes sure that they communicate every single bit of information, but it is sometimes the customer, sometimes the person who is supposed to give that information, there is an insurance, there is a communication gap. But with tools like us, what happens is, like, if you have an insurance policy, you can actually understand that this is there. Now what you can do is, like, we ask you if this is the information that is there, if that is correct. If
mhm,
you say that there is something which is not correct according to you, what we ask you, do you want to raise it to the insurance company again?
right.
Because if you do not get it correct,
Mhm,
either your insurance claim is going to get rejected, and if you get it fixed, what will happen is, like, there might be some spike in your premium, but what will happen is your claim will not get rejected tomorrow. So this is exactly the role the technology can play. And
right.
if and like all of this can be done at a scale, because this is a tech first approach that we are taking, and we are like the only platform in the country right now which is doing this, which is giving this information. And like we have partnered with the biggest repository in the country, as I told, which is using our this services, and we are actually have more and more partnership in the coming future.
Right, right. No, you are absolutely right, especially on the information gap between the customer and the insurance companies. And if you are able to give more visibility around it, and if you are able to educate the customer more, I'm sure the number of cases, especially from grievances management perspective, will go down. But if you have to look at from a insurance company perspective, because they are the one also at times they face a lot of problem from a risk assessment and fraud detection perspective, and there, as you rightly said, it is really important to have uh, understanding across each channels. That means the data analytics becomes really important. And although across, if you look at the different points of sale, you are collecting the data. And for a large insurance company, many a times you are not able to basically decipher data in a way that you would like to. And you rightly said that AI and machine learning, what it does, it's provide you the capability to do that. So how do you see, especially the advanced analytics, not general automation, but advanced analytics and machine learning per se shaping the future of especially the claim processing and also increasing the also delighting the customer?
So what would happen is, like, obviously, first thing first, we do not sell any kind of an insurance, but we do understand insurance
Right.
like the back of our hand.
Mm.
So what will happen? What is happening right now, Mohammed, is with all these technologies coming in, the insurance is becoming more personalized. So your
Right.
health insurance policy will be different from my health insurance policy, because I might be having a better lifestyle, I might be living in a better EQIA zone. There might be different factors which affect the premium that I need to pay. Now, all these decisions can only be taken if you have technology who can process the amount of data that is needed to make that decision. Otherwise, it will always become something which is a biased decision making. But if you have all these data points, what you can do is you can actually take a decision which is personalized to the customer, and which will lead to the delightment. Like the you said, the customer will be delighted when he has a product which is catering to his needs.
Right.
You have a car, and you need to buy car insurance. Now depending on the amount of car or amount of travel that you do, or the city roads, or like there are different geographies that you live in, all these things matter when you are paying your insurance premium. All these data will be captured by these IoT devices and everything, right? All of these data go into that engine, and then you have a premium which is very different from a person who is like having the same model, same car, but is paying a different premium because his data points are very different. Now
Right.
all of this, what it will lead to is, if you are making that decision in time at the time of selling, what will happen is you have all that data to process that claim also. Right now what happens is, like, once you have to process a claim, You need all that information, and the person is doing all of this paperwork and everything. Now all of this being digitally available, that tag to process that claim will drastically come down.
Absolutely.
Now, and if AI can make a decision whether the claim can go through, we are reaching at that level whereby the small amount of claims are
Mhm.
actually decided like without any manual intervention. Now imagine you have to get your claim money, and it can be done within hours. You will be delighted as a customer. What will happen in the long run is, and like platform like us which come, for example, if somebody doesn't have a good experience, we get around 100 people on an average. If we get around 100 people on our platform, 95% of the people we actually say no and make them understand why the insurance company has rejected their claim. So what happens is, like, those 95% of people actually get a feeling that insurance is correct. Now
Mhm.
the whole ecosystem is benefited from this. Otherwise what would happen is, that person, if there is nobody who can make him understand, and like he can only hear from somebody, or like a platform like us who is a third party without any bias towards anyone, we are a neutral platform. So
Right.
once he hears from us, he actually believes that information, and now the kind of brand that we have created, people are actually coming to us to validate their claim. Now what would happen is, like, if we tell them that there is something which is wrong at your part and this is how you can fix, those 95% of people actually going back to the insurance community who are selling. We are not selling. They go back to those platforms which are selling, and they are actually having their faith in insurance. Now
Right.
all in all, what is happening is, all these technology innovations that are happening, they are actually going to benefit every stakeholder in the insurance ecosystem, because at the end of the day, the focus for every insurance stakeholder, every stakeholder in this ecosystem, is to serve that customer. And if we can make that user experience for that customer top notch, it is everybody who is going to get benefited.
Right, right, absolutely. Uh, since you created a platform which provide a platform for the especially the consumer to come and share their experience, and possibly, as you said, around 90-95% you are able to let them know the real information, and because of that they are able to understand as to why the claim might have been rejected. Now, if I have to ask you something, how receptive are insurance companies on the advice of platform like yours? Because your platform is basically providing a space to the consumer, and I'm sure that you are collecting a lot of data, you have a lot of know-how as to how the customer are feeling. How receptive are insurance companies to those ideas, those suggestions that comes from your platform?
Actually, the insurance ecosystem has taken us well, but at the end of the day, we work for the customer.
Right.
So that is where our mostly our main North Star metric is. If we
Mm.
can delight the customer, then everybody will else would have to like actually align. So
Right.
that is where we have focused on. We are not focused on how everybody else, but we are like just focused on our customer. And in the last 6 years, what we have experienced is, like, everybody in the insurance ecosystem is actually welcoming, because this is something which is needed in the insurance ecosystem right now. If we
Right.
can build that space in
Mhm.
that insurance ecosystem, that insurance is good, and that is what our aim is, that is what insurance companies aim is, that is what everybody's aim is, that insurance is good and insurance is necessary. We all know deep down that insurance is necessary for everyone in this country.
Right.
We are helping people believe that, like, have that faith in the insurance, and that is where everybody, including insurance company and everybody, knows about us, and they are actually very good about this thing.
Right. Right. We also understand, that this is one sector which is highly regulated, even for
Yes.
insurance companies, and you have the body like IRDA and all, which is taking care of the regulatory part. And you, as a platform, has a lot of visibility as to what the customer is thinking about a particular insurance which was offered to them. Uh, and even your platform, I believe, is highly technology driven. It's a tech driven platform. So, what is your assessment of a balance between regulation and technology platform coming together and helping customer resolve their issue, and having a trust and belief in the insurance? And maybe if you look at majority of insurance right now is happening in the urban areas, tier 1 and tier 2 cities, and there's a huge scope of insurance penetration down the line in tier 3, tier 4 cities.
So actually, I would like to actually congratulate and say thank you to our regulator IIT, because they have been fabulous in the work that they do. We
Right.
understand that they actually have the same thought process as us. They are actually also thinking about customer first. So their intent is very clear. The customer has to be at the epicenter of everything that happens. Now, what has happened is, and they have been very flexible also. There have been many events that they do for like the insurance industry, which is actually telling how the vision is for the, and like their vision is very clear. They want to have every person in the country insured, and platform like us greatly benefit from that vision.
Right.
Our CEO was part of an insurance event that was done by IRDA, and that actually told us like they want to take everybody along. And
Absolutely.
like and in a country like us, whereby the government, like central government, is also having one of its main core feature that they want to increase insurance penetration in India. The fabulous efforts of IRDA is in that direction only, and we actually feel very privileged that we are in a country like India, and working with a regulator like IRDA, which is very flexible and actually thinking about customer first, and they are doing every bit possible to make sure. But they are also at the same time very particular about the security of data, security of information, in the customer well-being.
Right, right. Now, since you touched upon the data security, the next question I am going to
Mhm.
ask you on data privacy and cybersecurity itself, because what really happens that when you utilize technology, what it does actually, it enables you to connect a lot of dots with the help of with whether AI, machine learning, or data analytics. That means you have access to a lot of data, and some of data could be API data, customers' data. So the cybersecurity becomes really, really important. As somebody who is a hardcore techie, who is a CTO at Insurance Samadhan, what best practices should insurance tech companies adopt while building a secure and trustworthy ecosystem? I know that you have already built an Insurance Samadhan, and there's a lot of traction of the customer. If somebody, let's say a CTO or some solution architect guy who is thinking to build a platform like this, what are those security concerns they should be try to address in the beginning itself?
So actually, data security is at the center of what we do, because we understand once you are like, and like government of India is very particular, and the idea is very particular about data security. They do not want the data to be compromised at any level. So we understood it from very day one, Mohammed. So what happened is like we are an ISO certified organization. That is one that is a mandatory for everybody. Like anybody who is like doing any kind of stuff in any domain, leave it insurance, but in any kind of a domain, if you are having any access to commercial data, make sure that you are an ISO certified organization. Second, apart from this, is like we get audited by KPMG, one of the big fours, every year for our data practices. So
Right,
that is an additional layer that we have on top of this thing. So what happens is like every year the KPMG team comes, audit our systems, audit every practice that we do, our code base, everything, the secure points and everything. We get clear, and that is something that we are very particular about. So
right,
all of these things. So for example, there are standard data practices that you should have, and like ISO certification is one of them. Once you are an ISO certified, it makes sure it like it gives you that representation that you are actually following those. We have gone a top, we have gone a step ahead, and we have, on top of our ISO certification, we have our KPMG audit also. So we want somebody who is validating apart from the ISO organization, which is also very detailed. Apart from this, we have done KPMG certification, which has helped us in doing partnerships with the biggest repository in the country, camps.
mm,
We are a part of Startup India. We have implemented DigiLocker also. All of
right.
these have been possible because we are following the highest standard of data practices.
Right, right. So essentially, what you are saying that you need to have all the policy and regulation in place,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely. No two ways about it.
right, right, and auditing system in place, some of the fundamental things. So all those things from the beginning itself, while you are doing a DevSec, you should be actually thinking about and putting in place before launching a product, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, coming back to again the technology question, because these days are time of AI buzz, and what we are realizing that it is really very, very important to have a very high performing team, a team which is agile, scalable, and a team from technologically they believe in your ideas, actually what you are working on. So in insurance tech, if I have to ask you as a technology leader, what are the key skills and mind shift which you feel is required for technology professionals to drive meaningful innovation, especially in the insurance tech space?
So what is happening today is there are a lot of buzzwords which are there, but you have to understand at the core of everything is solving the customer pain point. So
Absolutely.
what I always tell my team and the engineers is like we have to first understand the journey of the customer.
Mhm.
Where is the actually pain point that we are solving for, and then we have to start reverse engineering from that position. We should not be making a product which nobody wants, but it is technology fancy product.
Right.
At the end of the day, a product which is being used by the customer, useful to the customer, that is the product that will survive the market, right?
Absolutely.
And all these things are enabler to solve, like all these buzzwords, the blockchain and everything. You can put it any AI, ML, blockchain, IoT, whatever it is. At the end of the day, all these things are just enablers to solve the problem that the customer is facing. So the approach is very simple, that you have to first understand the customer journey, put yourself in customer shoes, think about what he must be going through, what the feeling that he must be having. You have to think from that point of view. You have to sit with the product team, understand the feedback from the customer, and start solving from there. Bit by bit, if you start solving for there, you will realize that after a point of time your product is actually solving the end-to-end problem of the customer. And that is the approach that everybody should take, whether it is insurance or any problem that you are solving.
Right.
Use technology as an enabler to solve that problem, but the problem is the essential part. You have to identify that problem, that if that problem is something which is being solved,
Mm.
your technology cannot be a half solution.
Right.
For example, you wanted to build something in AI, but the solution is only half solved, it will not serve any purpose.
Absolutely.
You have to make sure that it is an enabler to solve that problem. If the customer is having that aha moment, he feels like for in our case, if the customer is getting his money back in his bank account, that is the most important part. We have to use all these technologies to make sure that the process is optimized, the TAT is reduced, the customer experience is enhanced. That is the process that everybody should think.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, technology has to be enabler, and that should be a goal of any technologies. Before I let you go, let me ask you, since as we have discussed so far, that this is the age of AI, there are a lot of buzz around AI, machine learning, blockchain, all those technology, IoT, for example. As a technologist, if I have to ask you, down the line, let's say in 4 to 5 years, what are some of the technology stack that you feel is going to really have a transformative impact on insurance sector?
So 5 years is a longer time that you have said. In today's time, a couple of years is more than enough to actually disrupt the market. So what I can see in the coming days, and it has started happening, and we are using like we are doing a lot of it, is like these AI agents is going to do the bulk of the work. So we will have small AI agents, small LLMs which are designed to do particular work, niche amount of work. So you will have, so for example, these chat GPT and Claude and everything, they are like large LLMs. They are like they can answer every query of yours. So what we will see in the coming times is we will see small particular niche driven LLMs, whereby you can ask questions about a particular segment, a particular niche, and their answer will be actually very good. And similarly, there will be a lot of AI agents which will do the part that we expect, the mundane work, the repeat work. All of these will be done by these AI agents that are there. So that is something that I can actually see in current stage also, that will become more and more mainstream in the couple of years. And maybe let's take it from there. We will have to understand how this tech shapes up.
Right. Mr. Mathur, thank you so much for taking out time for this special podcast and talking to us. I think you spoke quite well, especially around the Insurance Samadhan as to how it is trying to solve some of the customer problem. You also spoke about the technology stake, why it is really important, the kind of role AI is going to play, and also on the fact that the future is going to be more around the agentic AI, and some of the mundane tasks will be done by AI. Some of the smart tasks could also be done by AI. So thank you so much once again for taking out time and talking to us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Mohammed, and wishing best.